You're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
With success comes immense beatdowns. And every time you're underwater, you feel a little foot on your head holding you down just a little further. The more successful you get, the more underwater you feel a little bit. And it deteriorates that foolish confidence.
Oh boy! Should we just dive in?
Yeah, I'm already neck deep. Let's dive in. Let's go.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, everyone.
Sorry,
It's always no, it's good. The intro somehow for this show always ends up me laughing. It doesn't matter what goes.
We got the same memo to wear green today too. It looks like.
No, you guys did. I did.
We
I
matched.
missed out on the green.
But we also didn't come from the gym.
I now usually wear green to the gym, so this is very strange that I'm not in my green right now. My alphaba, I call it.
Oh.
Wouldn't it be great if all your intros had all this laughter, but then you get to what that podcast is about, and you're like, anyway, this is about the Holocaust. Let's dive right in.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to Was It Chance, the podcast about embracing opportunity and taking intentional risk for your creative life. I'm Heather Vickery.
And I'm Alan Seals, and we are two perfect strangers who met by chance and embraced opportunity. Listen in as we chat with other successful people about the risks. That's assuming we're successful.
I was thinking the same thing, Alan.
It's called manifestation, for God's sake.
Listen in as we chat with other successful people about the risks they've taken to put themselves on a path to creative success.
I don't ever know what to do with Alan's announcer voice. It always throws me off.
You guys have great podcasting voices.
Oh, thank you.
Both of you.
Hey, that voice you're hearing is our guest today. Welcome, Drew Gasparini, to the show. Alan's going to tell you all about him.
Okay, so Drew is my announcer voice. Drew is currently hot in the middle of workshops. Okay. Drew is currently hot in the middle of workshops for the Karate Kid musical coming to Broadway. He's writing an adaptation of Night Shift for Warner Brothers Theater Ventures. He's got another adaptation for Universal Theater Group. He's got a dog that is part pterodactyl. He wrote the 2019 PR stunt, the Skittles commercial, the Broadway musical starring Michael C. Hall. He has a very funny celebrity interview podcast on the Broadway Podcast Network, and is just all around a great guy. He goes to the gym too.
And he usually wears green. So.
Typically. Hi, guys. I'm so happy I made it. I'm still sweating right now because, as I was explaining to you, I really sincerely ran directly from the gym because I forgot about this podcast. I'm sorry, but I'm here. Look at me, committing. I committed, baby.
And
I'm
you
here.
Followed through. Was it chance?
I followed through.
I wonder.
It was chance that I forgot, and then it turned into an amazing. Here I am.
Oh my gosh. I'm excited to meet you. I'm
so excited to meet you. Heather, can I just say I love your last name and the two names combined? Heather Vickery. That sounds like a Marvel character before they find out what their power is. You know
my God. My kids are going to
an
love
origin
that.
Story. Tell your kids that you have an origin story in the works.
They are going to love that. Thank you. I'm rather fond of my name. That's why I never changed it when I got married. And then when I got divorced, it was easier. So
yeah, less paperwork is what I say. That's right.
No, thank you for that. Well, I have been, internet stalking you ever since Alan said, I want to have my friend Drew on the show.
Oh, great.
And you're funny. That's fun.
Yeah,
you're fun
thanks.
to
no
social
pressure.
stalk. No pressure.
Should I take offense to the fact that you hadn't already just memorized everything I've done and put out there content-wise?
You could totally take offense to that if you want to, but
is it chance that I'm offended right now?
I don't know, maybe. But for anybody, including me, who's listened to that very funny celebrity interview on the Broadway Podcast Network that Alan referenced earlier, and I think that we dropped that because we're also on the Broadway Podcast Network. So I think that's why he slid that in.
I love
we're going to leave out the fact that it was Alan's own show. That's okay.
I just wait. No. I totally didn't even drop the name. He has his own podcast. Now We're Talking with Drew Gasparini.
That's
he
right.
reviews his own celebrities.
You're also
on the network.
It's a 3-way on the network. Now.
Yes, right. I have been on Alan's show as well, and Alan's other show that he produces with Josh Lehman. I was on that show as well.
Listen, this is not only Heather's origin story, this is her podcast orgy story, right?
Wow. What the orgy it is.
We're going to edit that out. Okay, wait, what is your show, Drew, that's hosted
my
on
show
the Broadway
is
Podcast
called,
Network?
My show on the Broadway Podcast Network is called Now We're Talking with Drew Gasparini, and it's just a really silly little chat with friends of mine from show business and people who I'm not friends with, which is like the best part about it. It's like inviting people I don't know on, and then, shooting the shit with them. Oh, can I swear? I said shit.
Oh, yeah, we can fucking swear on this show.
Oh,
no, you don't
good. Okay, good. Otherwise, I'm really the worst guest.
I would be the worst guest, too.
Who's the biggest guest you've had so far?
The biggest guest I've had so far. Well, we just had Kate Baldwin on, so that'll be fun. She's coming.
Nice.
And right before that, we had Matt Doyle. Adam Pascal was a pretty big guest. I think it depends on who you think is cool. Because even though he's a good.
Who do you think has been like the coolest, the most like, oh my God, this person's now talking to me? Because that's how you feel right now with Drew fucking Gasparini.
I'm sure that's only sort of true. But my favorite episode on the podcast so far, and in real life, he's a real friend of mine for like 12 years, is Marc Summers, who was the host of Double Dare and Unwrapped on the Food Network and What Would You Do? And he's
a
television.
Of the 80s. I feel
absolutely. If you're a kid from the 80s and 90s, you definitely know who Marc Summers is. And I met him so many years ago, and I was so intimidated to talk to him. And now we're such good friends, but every time I talk to him, I still leave the conversation going, did I just fucking talk to Marc Summers? Like, it still blows my mind because he was like my childhood idol.
That's
and his episode on Now We're Talking was super fun because he talks about all these parts of his career no one knows about, like when he was a stand-up comic and he shared the bill like his first night ever at the Comedy Store in LA. It was him and like Letterman and Robin Williams and Richard Pryor and like all these. He has a picture of the set list. It is so crazy. Or the who played that night, and it's insane to see the names he was with. So that was pretty cool. He was probably
all right. Well, I think that's a really good place to start because I like to ask the question to open this show with what unexpected chance led you to where you are. But I would rather say, what led you to meeting Marc Summers that very first time? Was that chance?
It all he was just a part of a little chapter in my life that kind of was a launching pad for whatever the rest of my career turned out to be. So he is kind of an integral part of the whole thing. But how I met Marc, there was 4 seconds, I think it was 4.5 maybe seconds, when I was like, I think I'm going to be an actor. This is really before I cemented the idea that being a composer lyricist is where I was meant to be. And I auditioned for a production of Rent. And I got cast as Marc in Rent. I had hair back then, so it worked better. And I was Marc, and I had to wear the glasses. And it was basically like, it's summer stock. So you do a show, and then immediately following, there's another show, and immediately following, there's another show. And during Rent rehearsals, the producer's like, hey, you look good in those glasses. You want to just stick around for Grease and play Eugene? It was just like the most convenient next gig ever. And Marc Summers was coming in as like the celebrity guest playing Vince Fontaine. And the two of us have nothing but downtime in that show. Eugene's on stage for like 40 seconds and he's only on that one scene. And so we just dicked around in the dressing room the whole time. And like all we did was crack each other up and like sneak out early and get dinner and whatever else. It was so fun. And I'd consider him one of my best friends at this point. It's really, really cool.
Wow.
How old is he? Is he our age? Like early 40s? Or is he a little... No, he's older. He's
you're talking Marc Summers?
Yeah, he's in his 50s, right?
Marc Summers just turned 70.
Shut up.
I'm dead serious. He was 36 when he was doing Double Dare. And that was back... I think that started in 86.
It was in the 80s, for sure. I remember
he was
it.
Such a young guy. I don't know. I was a kid. I don't have any sort of
Well, I mean, like, and he was such a young looking guy too. You probably looked at him and like, oh, one of me is on TV. Yeah, no, he just turned 70 years old. That's right.
Wow, that's insane. Did you go to his party?
I didn't, because he lives in Santa Barbara now. I think his neighbors are Ellen DeGeneres and Oprah Winfrey.
There you go.
Yeah, crazy. And I don't think anybody's going to 70-year-olds' birthday parties right now. And
they're in the middle of a global pandemic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Omicron. That's the latest Transformer.
Yeah.
Is the Omicron. Well, this isn't the Marc Summers podcast interview.
Exactly. I was just going to say.
Make it that.
I keep saying Drew fucking Gasparini because that's how you named yourself here in this podcast.
We're going to show you a picture on Instagram. Or was it Chance on Instagram? Because I had to take a picture.
Excellent. Here I am.
We'll screenshot before we go. But Drew fucking Gasparini, tell me about what was the big chance you took that got you started with Karate Kid the musical? That I am seeing press and articles and things all over the place about this, and it's such
all over
the hyped show right now, and it hasn't even made it out of workshops yet.
We just did our workshop. We just did a 4-week workshop, and we're about to go do our out of town. So right now I'm scrambling, doing rewrites and, trimming things here and there. Nip and tuck, baby, nip and tuck. That's mostly what the writer's job is after you start workshopping. And it looks, guys, I can't even say, it feels bad. Listen, it feels bad saying this because I'm saying it about my own thing, but I will say this. This show is going to blow your mind.
Why does that feel bad?
To blow your mind. You know why? It's because I'm on the receiving end of a bunch of people who just want this to fail.
Oh man.
Twitter is such an evil cesspool of awfulness. And when those announcements start coming out, and there's all this press and Rolling Stone and Entertainment Weekly, and it's all over the place. It's inescapable. Maybe half, a little less than half, are like, oh my God, I can't wait, Karate Kid. I love Karate Kid.
And then the other half are like, why the fuck would you turn this into a musical?
Just what we fucking want. Haven't we learned our lesson? And these people have no idea that every adaptation or every musical on Broadway, like 99% of every musical on Broadway since the beginning of Broadway, has been an adaptive property of a play, a book, a novel, Greek tragedy, whatever it is. And the best part is the people that are saying, oh man, really, do we need an adaptation? Like their profile picture is Tracy Turnblatt from Hairspray, as if that's not a fucking adaptation of a movie from the 80s either. Jesus Christ, people. Yeah. But no, it really is going to be good. And it's not, I'm working my butt off on the score. I'm really excited about the work we're putting into it. But Keone and Mari Madrid, who are now working on the Britney Spears musical, they're choreographing, and it blew the roof off of the place during the workshop. What they do is so special and amazing. And just to get back to like the theme here of how did this happen, the chance of all of this, I would say that the entire career I have is chance, because I dropped out of college, but even if you went to college for composing for Broadway, like if it was that specific, they still wouldn't teach you how to get started. There's no way to know. There's no rules. You just have to have this weird 20-something-year-old confidence. You know that thing that a bunch of stupid straight guys have when they're in their 20s? This unabashed.
Did they lose that?
Oh yeah. The minute I turned 33, I was like, who am I? And then all my hair fell out at once. It was amazing. It was very humbling. But in my 20s, I was just like, yeah, what do I have to lose? I really had this. I was so unafraid. And I really would wait outside of stage doors at like Little Mermaid for Titus Burgess to come out and say, hey, here's a CD. Will you sing this for me? Or like stalk people on Facebook and just cold message them. And will you please sing at my show at the Duplex? These are Broadway actors and they're so not going to.
Yeah, but how often did they say yes?
Twice ever did they say yes. And Titus was one of those yeses, and it changed my whole career.
That's really what I mean. Like you can put yourself out there like that thousands of times, and it feels gutsy and overly confident and risky. But if twice people say yes and it changes your fucking life, then it's worth the effort.
I agree with that 100%. And I always say that to people when I do master classes and things like that. You know what I do? Heather and Alan? Here's what I do. When I do a master class, and I learned this from my friend Marc Summers, before I even say anything about the business, I say, hi, I'm Drew. I'm not an expert. Anybody who's in show business who says they're an expert is lying to you, because that doesn't exist, because we're always changing and evolving in this business. And how can you be an expert? And the second thing I say is, and I'll say it right here on the podcast, Drew Gasparini at gmail.com. And if you didn't write that down, that sucks, because I'm here for you. Really, if you don't take advantage of that, then you're going to be lost. Not just because it's me, because somebody is offering this to you. If you don't take that offer, it's up to you to seek them out. I am cutting so many corners for you by saying, I am at your disposal. If you have questions, if you want to meet other composers, if you want to sing in a concert of mine, here's how we can communicate. I offer that up because I found through people like Titus, and Jeremy Jordan was the other one. Wow. I found through people like that who are willing to take a chance and sit down with you and talk about the business, or sing a song of yours, or sing in your concert, or whatever it is. It just goes a long way, and it helps everybody else out. Like Titus singing my song, I think he knows what that did for me at this point. I think Titus knows what that meant to me at this point, but that also works on his behalf too. He's singing a brand new writer's material. He's debuting unheard material. And no matter where you are in your career, that is an important thing to hang on to and continuously be excited about. So, and having that kind of confidence throughout my 20s to ask people made it very easy to share myself with the world and put it on YouTube and have the confidence, well, if Titus wants to sing this song, then surely other people will want to. Maybe I can sell sheet music to this. And then I'm paying my rent all of a sudden with my own art. And that's how it all started. It makes me emotional thinking back to it, because I don't even know if I would have the confidence now to do that. Honestly, so much shifts when you start finding success in this career, and how fast with success comes immense beatdowns. And every time you're underwater, you feel a little foot on your head holding you down just a little further. The more successful you get, the more underwater you feel a little bit, and it deteriorates that foolish confidence. And all of a sudden you have to work just not for yourself as an artist, but there's a whole machine you have to feed here. Karate Kid, for Christ's sake. I mean, it sounds so silly, but the Skittles commercial, these are giant accolades in my career. But even working on something as big and silly as that, it chips away at you. So thank goodness for those stupid, confident years.
I love it. I want to ask about the Skittles PR.
I love talking about the Skittles commercial. Ask me anything.
Yeah. I mean, I want to know everything about it. I want to know how it happened and then what happened from it.
Well, we all went to the desert and did a mountain of peyote. And then when we came out of the desert, this musical about Skittles was written.
Head of marketing for Skittles, Michael C. Hall, and Drew fucking Gasparini.
Yeah, that's it. The three of us wander into a desert. The rest is history. No, it's so weird. And I've told this story a few times, but like, again, this is chance. This is such a perfect thing for your podcast because of what the theme is here. But I was being sought after. I'm going to tie Karate Kid and Skittles together. I was going in for, I was being called by Gorgeous Entertainment, these producers who are producing the Karate Kid. And they were asking me, will you please submit some songs? We're hearing from a bunch of composers. We'd love to throw you in the mix. We're big fans of your album. I could use a drink. And I did. Guess what I did? No, because who needs another adaptation? That's sincerely what I did. That is sincerely what I did. And then they finally convinced me to submit. When I spoke to Robert Mark Kamen, who wrote all the movies, and he's writing the book for our stage adaptation. And he explained this visual idea and the way that they were going to elevate this beloved story for the stage. And immediately it was like, oh shit, this is going to be amazing. I have to get this job. And I killed myself to write these songs, and I wrote them very fast. Like everything, all the voicings and all the vocabulary of the characters and all that came to me so fast, and I submitted it. And I got the job. And about 2 weeks later, I got a call from my friend John Johnson, who's a Broadway producer, and he's won, I think, 4 trillion Tonys at this point. I don't know how that happened.
It's like all of them, but yeah.
No, he's won all the Tonys that ever existed. He owns them. He's a collector, really. He hasn't really won any of them. He's just buying them off of these actors. No, he's a great friend of mine, and he's a producer. And he called and he goes, "Yo, hey, my wife works for this ad agency, and or she used to work for this ad agency, and they're looking for a songwriter to basically make fun of." And I love Benj and Justin, but to basically make fun of Dear Evan Hansen, just the style of it, the overdramatic melodrama pop kind of thing that was really hit hot with that show. And I said, I could do that with my eyes closed. Sure. I said, what is this for exactly? And they said, and this is a little trivia for you guys. I honestly don't know if I'm allowed to say this, so I might get a slap on the wrist, but this is all done now, so who cares? They said, we're writing the Skittles commercial starring John Malkovich. This is who it was before it was Michael C. Hall. It was John fucking Malkovich. Yes. So then we all learned that John Malkovich actually cannot sing. John Malkovich, didn't end up doing it. Then it was Andrew Rannells for a minute, and then he dropped out, and then Michael C. Hall said yes to it. And I'm in my head, I'm like, of course they all said no to this. What the hell are we doing? We're writing a musical for the Super Bowl that's not going to air. You have to buy tickets for it, and it's a full-length musical. An insane premise. The whole thing that is just insane. The chance part of this is one of the cast members in the Skittles commercial that I booked 1 week after I booked Karate Kid is Julia Macchio, Ralph Macchio's daughter. Ralph Macchio, who played Daniel in the Karate Kid movies and now in Cobra Kai, his daughter was in the Skittles commercial. So I went up to her, I was like, is your dad Ralph Macchio? And of course it was. She looks just like him. And is your dad Ralph Macchio? Yes. I go, I'm writing the Karate Kid. I just found this out like right before I started this. She goes, that's you. I heard about it. So there's a bit of chance for you. That's a story that continuously blows my mind.
This is a small world right there.
That's insanely cool. Well, theater is I think a lot of chance. Just because there's so many moving parts, it's like this spider web of opportunities and auditions and timing, and literally it's how you go in and present yourself, right? Like if you go in and giving zero flying flips about what you're doing, you're probably going to get the job. But if you're going in there with desperation, they can like sense that sweating off of your brow. Yeah,
and they go, we don't want to hang out with this guy. He's too sweaty, and then you don't get the job. And it all has to do with flop sweat. It really does. Botox, kids. They should be teaching you that year 1 at the Boston Conservatory. Botox. And where to get it. That's right.
I want to go back to something you'd said. Actually, you gave out your Gmail address, which I think is bold, and
now you've given it out. You've given it out to everyone who listens to the show.
Well, listen. The truth is, I get so much weird shit sent to me at Gmail and at my Gmail account anyway that it really doesn't bother me. And like, if you're really trying to sleuth, you could probably figure out Drew Gasparini at gmail.com. You know, it's not like some big wacky secret. And if I might not get back to you, but there's a very good chance I will. So anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt, Alan.
Well, no, I actually want to take it a minute and bring this down. Bring it down. Is actually take it to a serious moment, because Sondheim just passed a couple weeks ago as we're recording this, and when he died, it was just, I saw this outpouring of these notes and memos and pictures of letters that for decades and decades, even at the height of his success, he was still personally answering fan mail, doing exactly what you said that happened to you and that what you want to do to other people is giving advice, talking to literally answering fan mail in a very legitimate, helpful way, not just like, hey, here's a signed picture, there's the door. So it's incredibly, I think, noble's not the right word. Maybe humble is the right word. I don't know. But I think, speaking to the chance of it all, you don't know any of the people who are going to write to you may be, of course, wanting to, you may give them the advice, and they take a chance writing you take a chance responding, and then they become the next Lynn or the next Sondheim or the next Weber, or whoever
the next
it is.
Drew fucking Gasparini.
And then
or the next Drew fucking Gasparini.
The next Drew fucking Gasparini. And then you are all taking the journey together because of one little chance.
I've always thought that there is certainly room for everybody to kind of be a part of this world and to be a part of this life in show business or theater or whatever it is you're trying to do out here. And I think you could either go the route of, and I would never say, I'm doing this the way Sondheim did. Sondheim was he broke rules, created rules. Like the guy is one of the gods of musical theater. He's on Mount Rushmore of musical theater. I am in no way saying I am one of those Mount Rushmore faces. Therefore, I have all you need for the wisdom and guidance of your own future. But encouragement certainly goes a long way, and if it's just about finding what your voice is, because Lord knows I don't want a bunch of people sounding like me or anything like that, but like I'm so down to like listen to what it is they're working on and just encourage them to keep going if it sounds like them. But if I hear someone send a song and I'm like, that is a Jason Robert Brown song, I'm going to let them know, because I think the biggest tool for them is to be able to find the uniqueness within themselves. I think that's what's going to help kind of make the ripple effect continue within the theater. And a lot of people, because of the competitive nature of this industry, a lot of people hang on to their own advice. And I think that's so stupid. I think that is that's like developing a tumor. Like, I don't understand why you would hold on to the wisdom that you've gained or the guidance someone else gave you. And you go, oh, good, I'm going to keep that for myself so I can beat everybody else. Fuck that. Yeah. Dude, no way. Yeah. There's so many projects and so many stories and so many different ways to tell them all. You can't do them yourself. Share that wealth. And my God, when you see someone that does it in a way that's not better, because that's subjective, but so different, unique, that you're like, ooh, I could never do it that way. Yeah. Be excited about that. I think that's amazing. And I've said this too, with any success I've gotten, which does take me away from any time I have to coach one-on-one or do master classes, I make sure I make time for those master classes or for those one-on-one workshops, because it is so important. And I understand the value firsthand, not just as the teacher seeing it work, but as someone who was clueless and coming like a baby in diapers walking around New York City. Yeah. Actually, I was just a grown man in diapers, drunk, very drunk, walking around New York City.
This was like last week.
This was a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Just a diaper walking around. No, but I remember Stephen Flaherty was a mentor of mine, and Adam Guan and Miller and Tyson. I would just, the time